Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's time for Trivia Tuesday here on another live stream, 3 p.m. in New Vienna, Iowa. Hope you guys are doing well today. I forgot to turn on the audio recording for the audio live stream, so now I got that turned on. Welcome to everyone listening on the audio live stream. I started the intro and forgot to start the recording, so you guys are jumping in kind of mid-sentence, but glad to have you guys here listening after the fact as well, and I'm so happy to have everyone here live, people hanging out, chatting beforehand. Today is Trivia Tuesday. It feels like a Monday, and what a Monday it is. Today's the first day of school for my kid today, and we're doing virtual school. So we're still enrolled in Chicago public schools. We still live in Chicago, but we're still, weathering the storm here in Iowa. And so we're glad to be able to do that here, but it wasn't too bad for us today, but it was definitely a little bit of a change in the routine. But I feel like, everyone was ready for it. The kids were ready for it. I was kind of ready for it. The seasons are ready for it. It went from summertime yesterday to squarely fall temperatures today. I think it's been even more drastic changes for a lot of you guys out there. But, we're full swing fall now, and that's what it is. But it is a Trivia Tuesday day today, and some of you guys thought it was Monday Mukbang Day, because I totally forgot to do Monday Mukbang yesterday. I didn't forget, I just ran out of time. But I'm going to do a twofer for today. So today what I have is trivia about bagels. My mother-in-law made homemade bagels yesterday, and I think I ate 3 or 4 of them yesterday, and this is my second, maybe third one today. And so I thought, you know what, today's trivia is going to be about bagels. But Lanier says first day of virtual school for her and her kids. 2 first graders and an 8th grader. That's quite a day. That's a lot. So if you're going to have your Trivia Tuesday with some drinks, I will totally understand that. I'm going to have mine with some coffee, because what goes better with a bagel than some good coffee? So we got that going today. Let's see who else is here. We got Lanier, like I said, very cool. Chris Yao, Terrence Huey's here as well. Awesome. Martha's here. Plant Power Dan, Ben Eng, J. Mike Remy's here. Awesome. He's mostly on time. You're pretty much on time. Everyone's here on time today. J. Mike Remy's here at 3:01, so you're right there. Inez Dunbar's here today. Eric the Red, my mom is here. And it was so wet for tonight's mountain biking. He's back, cleaned up, and before the live stream. Awesome. Cool. Stevie76 says, my first grader cried doing online class. That's a bummer. That's hard. That's really hard. My daughter, for the first half of today, every time I kind of peeked in on her and checked in on her, she was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. But I don't think it's that. I think part of it is that she found out today that she has a lot of other online apps and games that are available to her now through school. And I think she just would rather do her own introvert thing over there rather than sit in front of a camera and look at people. So I think that's really what it is. I think she'll like it. But already it was day 1 and things got way off schedule. And then it's 3rd grade, so there's not that many teachers. It's not like she has a different teacher each period, each subject. But it's pretty unclear. It's very clear in the schedule as to this hour is going to be science, this hour is going to be social studies, this hour is going to be math. But it's not clear which of the 5 different links that I have is the one that I have to click on to get her to the next class. And I think I only need 1 or 2 of them a day, depending on the day. But then this afternoon, Monday's a weird day, which I don't like it when it's 4 days it's this way, and on the 5th day we do something quirky. That's what they have for today. Oh, I guess today's Tuesday, though. Maybe so I'm the one that screwed up. Anyway. Yeah, so I screwed that up. But anyway, I had no idea where I was supposed to go for her last session, which started at 1:45. And then, it started at 2:45. And then the only way that I could find the link was from an email that the teacher had sent out during the middle of the day. And so what if you're a parent that left for work and we're plopped your kids down and we're all right, go. I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't plop home like third graders, but like, or maybe you would. I don't know, depending on where you are. But it was a little bit frustrating for me in that sense. So I was like telling my daughter, like, make sure like you find out where you're supposed to be before you leave the last place. Because like she like every time I was like, oh, when we after your break or after lunch, where are you supposed to be? She was like, I don't know. No one ever said. So I'm like, okay. But that's what my day's been like so far. And then the baby, we got her ABC Mouse. She's 4, so she would have been in preschool, but we decided not to send her. And I'm the preschool teacher. So, I sat her in front of the iPad for the first half of the day, and for the second half of the day, we colored and practiced using scissors and glue and ate some snacks. Played with popsicle sticks and stickers, so it was pretty fun. That was okay. But that was my day. Sherry Kamek says, finally made it to a live stream. Glad to have you here, Sherry. Awesome. Welcome. Stephen Gersdorf is here too. David Sachs, Daniel M. Awesome. Martha says, activate the audio. Make sure it's activated. Someone joked today earlier, where was it? Right at the top, that it was going to be, Chris Yao said it was going to be glute activation trivia day. And that would be perfect for today instead of bagels, because bagels sounds kind of boring now compared to glute activation trivia. But like, other than like asking like how much did J-Lo insure her butt for, like I don't know how many other butt trivia questions I can make. But maybe I'll think this, if we're still talking about butts next week and glute activation, I have an idea. But we'll see. But for today, we got bagels. Jonathan Fan just got out of school. He's beat. Yeah. Arnold Atlantis says he's glad that I'm enjoying preschool. It's fun, I don't get to use the scissors very much, but I do get to use the glue stick a lot. So, give and take. When anything that involves a perforated page, that's all me. So that's kind of cool and enjoyable. So, yeah. Yeah. Chris McLean is here as well. Good to see you. Louis Becerra said, I had the same problem with my son the first week, but they just activate the same link every day. Confusing at first, but now he's doing fine. Okay, well, that's good. I feel like it'll be fine once we get into a rhythm, but like the first day, I don't know. That's one of the things I don't like about Google Meet. It's like if I like called you guys all up and we're doing Meet right now, I'll send you guys links. That works great. But if it's something like 2 days from now at 3:15, we're all going to do something together on Google Meet. I feel like Google Meet's the worst possible product to use. Maybe not worst possible, but it stinks. It's very hard for people that get there early. But it's something we'll learn to live with. All right, let's start with some bagel trivia. All right. So remember, no points, no prizes, just some bagel trivia. I love bagels. I grew up eating lots of bagels. I grew up in New Jersey. Lots of really great bagels there. It's something that I look forward to every time I go back. And it's something that I didn't realize that the rest of the country didn't have great bagels until I left, and there were not great bagels. And I was like, why are they so terrible here? So, with that said, let's talk about bagels. First trivia question is, what country did the bagel originate in? And I mean, I think there's probably going to be some debate about this, but I'm going off of like just general internet research. I think I got this answer from Wikipedia, which is pretty normal. So, oh man, you guys got it right away. JP got it as Poland. Yep, that's right. Poland is the first. Belgium and Germany, I think, are all good choices too, though. Because my understanding, at least the information I have, says it derives from a Yiddish word, and I'm not going to try to say it because I don't speak Yiddish, Beygal, and from the German dialect word Beugel, and it means ring or bracelet. So, yeah. Emma Wilhelm says, I want a bagel. Bagels are delicious. I think that they're a highly underrated food. I love them. Jody Run says, I'm screwed for this quiz because bagels really aren't a thing in Australia. Really? Wow. Rain Runner says, I miss New York bagels. I do too. Yeah. What I love is like whenever I go home, my parents always have bagels in the freezer because they'll just buy them they'll buy them a baker's dozen at a time, even though it's just the two of them, and they'll like usually split one, and then they'll just keep them in the freezer and buy them a whole bunch at a time. And then I love it when they're out because then they're like, "Do you want to go to the bagel chip?" And chip means house, so you want to go to the bagel house. And there's always like a place nearby that just looks like a little, rundown shop at the end of a strip mall, and on the inside is just this like Willy Wonka factory of delicious smells and just really great bagels. It's amazing. Daniel M says, "What about people who pronounce it Baagel? Bagel." Yeah. So what's interesting is here in the Midwest, it's pronounced like bagel, like Begle. And I'm more used to saying a bagel. I think I probably say it a little bit different now than how I used to say it when I lived on the East Coast. But around here, like when people were saying it, I was like, "What? What are you talking about? What are you saying?" So it was really weird. Yeah. Metal 37 says, "We can't visit our daughter in Virginia without stopping for a dozen bagels here in New Jersey." New Jersey has good bagels too. MC1796 says, "When you're in Fort Lee, where do you go for bagels? The Boulevard?" I'm not sure. My parents always get it. We just go to I go to whatever bagel chip that they want to go to. So I'm not really sure. I can't even give you a name anymore. Mom, if you got a good place in Fort Lee, type it in there. People want to know. So my mom's here, so she'll tell us. J. Mike Remy says, "That's New England bagel." That's funny. All right, so let's go to the second question real quick while we're here. And then after like questions 1 or 2 are like pretty typical like bagel trivia questions, and after that they get a little bit more fun. No question numbers at a time, no problem. I think that's like if you were to eat 6 bagels at a time, I think that'd be like 300 grams of sugar, right? Johnny runs an item bagel in New York City Marathon and none near Times Square. And I just can't understand the hype over them. I mean, for me, the hype is that it's like you got that bite on the outside and then soft and chewy on the inside. It's just super delicious. It's something that we would always eat on the weekends. So it was like a weekend food. It's not something you would eat for breakfast like on a Tuesday. So I just remember they were like special. And like I just remember so many delicious flavors growing up. Growing up, it was the everything bagel, which is what I loved. So like that's when like that's not a bad choice, but I feel like it's kind of like a rookie safe choice, other than like if you're going to eat plain or cinnamon raisin goodness forbid. But those are safe choices. Then as I got a little bit older, I was like, egg bagels are pretty interesting. But salt bagels were my favorite for the longest time. Like the saltier, the better. So basically, you're just eating like almost a pretzel. And then there's pretzel bagels too, which is a combination of 2 of my favorite breads, or some of my favorite breads. But now I would say my favorite bagel is a pumpernickel bagel. There's just something really special about a pumpernickel bagel, and you cannot get a pumpernickel bagel just anywhere. So if you get a pumpernickel bagel, you're in a legit spot. Although I think they have them at like Einstein's. So maybe that's not a good barometer. Not that Einstein's is bad, but it's a chain. It's a franchise. MC1796 says, "As a New Jersey Jew, an everything bagel with lox, cream cheese, and onions is a staple food." That's delicious. I could eat that every meal. I normally have a hard time with, seafood for breakfast. But that's an exception. I could do that for sure. Plain Proud Dan said, "Maybe bagels are misunderstood because most people are used to store-bought frozen bagels and not many have had a bagel from a bakery." Yeah, there's one place that I know of in Chicago. NYC Bagel Deli, the one that's on like North and Clybourne near the giant new Whole Foods. I don't know if they still do, but they used to bake them on prem. So like they would be like at the spot, and you could see like if you looked around the corner, you can see them actually making them there. It had like a giant machine where it would it was like like a robot factory. It was like a Wallace and Gromit style factory, where like there's this spinning thing that had bagels on it and would like come out of the boiling water, and then they would move them to like the other place to bake. It was pretty cool. I don't know if they still make them there or not, but yeah. Rainrunner says Montreal has pretty good bagel too. I've been doing the research for this trivia. I did not know that there was such thing as a Montreal bagel, but I'm pretty interested in it. Jonathan Fan asks, are there meat bagels? You can make like a bagel sandwich. My first week of law school, I made like a bagel sandwich like for every day, and people started giving me like a hard time for it. They're like, another bagel sandwich, huh? You really like bagels? And I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. The sandwich is delicious, by the way. You know, I was like, it holds up because it's going to be a couple hours from the time I make the sandwich to the time I eat it. So you need a bread that when you put wet things or somewhat wet things on it, it can soak it up without getting soggy. Like regular, you're either going to toast bread or you're going to put it on a bagel. I don't know what you guys are talking about. And they always thought I was like overthinking it. I'm like, you guys don't think about food enough. Daniel M says, remember bagel bites? We'll get there. We'll get there, kind of. But yeah. Chris Dyke says, just jumped in. Best bagels I've ever had were in Montreal. Well, that's going to have to go on the Kofuzi World Tour. I was thinking Toronto would be the first Canada location, but maybe Montreal to get the bagels. I wonder if it's one of those things where if you didn't grow up eating that style, you wouldn't like it, though. I don't know. Frank LaHoolier says, I got third place in the H category in the Burgers Bagel Run once. That's pretty cool. Awesome. All right. Third question. I guess this is a kind of a boring one, too. But what's the most popular bagel topping? Pretty easy, I think. I remember the first time I had one that was not the most, and I think everyone's getting the answer. The first time I had a bagel that was not with cream cheese, and that's the answer, cream cheese, was in high school cross country. Our cross country coach on Saturday would drop us off at the beach, and he would pick us up like 3 or 5 miles down later. And when he picked us up in the van, there would be a bag full of chocolate chip bagels and a whole bunch of butter. And I had never eaten a chocolate chip bagel before that. This would have been sometime in 1995, maybe. I never had a chocolate chip bagel before that, and I never had butter on a bagel before that, and I thought both things were extremely gross. I don't like sweet breakfast. I like savory breakfast, so like cream cheese is about as sweet as I like things. Maybe maple syrup. But it works, especially after you just run a couple of miles on the beach. Pretty good. Stevie76 says, how do you say bagel in French? Interesting. Martha says, bagel mile officially added to the Weird Mile series. Just don't combine it with loose meat. It would fall out the hole. That'd be the problem. All right. Question number 4. Here's where they start getting interesting. When was the pizza bagel invented? While you guys are answering that, Corey Valencourt says, did you get a pair of the Hyperion Elite 2s? I did. I've got them downstairs in the basement. I got to film them quick, and then I got to find a time to run them. I've got to get my knee sorted out a little bit so I can put some time into it. I'm thinking it's going to pair up pretty nicely when I'm in that Trial of Miles cross-country virtual competition. So I think I'm going to just wear them for that. So I'll do like probably a 3-mile warm-up and then go right into a rolling 5K. Well, it'll be a 5K. I'll roll right into the 5K. Or maybe I'll fully stop. I'll probably stop. So I have a discrete activity for it. And I think I'm going to try it there. So it'll be like later this week. All right. So pizza bagel. When was it invented? We got answers all over the place. But they're all pretty close. They're all pretty tight. Except for Stevie 76, who said 1492. That's not that close. Mike Howe says that pizza bagels were invented the day after the bagel was invented. One would think, but they were not. Let's see who was closest. I have 2 answers, though, as is like most food inventions of when it can be. But I think the closest is Probably Reed Morris and Chris McLean. Reed Morris said 1973 and Chris McLean said 1970. So it appears like there's like a popular answer, or like a historically like more recognized answer, which is 1974 at a store called the Western Bagel in Woodlands Hill, California, where a kid just decided he was going to put pizza toppings on a bagel one day. I mean, a kid that worked at the store. And then there's another answer that shows up a little bit like later, although that predates it. And so that is in 1970, there was a company called the Amster Pizza Bagel Incorporated. I think they were out of Ohio, maybe. And they, I think they trademarked their name so they could sell frozen pizza bagels. They had a frozen pizza bagel product that they sold 6 in a pack, but for 11 ounces. So that must have been pretty small. So, like Bagel Bites, I'm thinking, you know. But let me tell you how I used to make a pizza bagel growing up in the suburbs in New Jersey. I would take the bagel, you cut it in half, put tomato sauce like ragu, or like, what's the other one? Prego, like the pre-made like factory jar spaghetti sauce. Just pour some on there with a spoon. Not pour it, but like ladle it on with a spoon. A slice of American cheese, and then put that in a toaster oven. If you don't have a toaster oven, toast the bagel and then put all that in the microwave to get the cheese to melt. That's how I used to make pizza bagels. Now when I make a pizza bagel, I'll still use the jarred tomato sauce. But then I'll put actually like mozzarella on it, maybe some other cheeses as well to make it a little fancier. But I mean, that's the beauty of the pizza bagel. It's simple, really, really simple. It's getting dark. Daniel M said that kid in Woodland Hills, California, grew up to be Steve Jobs. Martha says she knew one of the Amsters when she worked in Cleveland. Really? That's awesome. You get. Oh, do you still keep in touch, Martha? You should ask him about pizza bagels. That's crazy. Jeff Elliott coming in with more trivia on top of the trivia. Love it. Where'd it go? Bagel Bites were invented in 1985 by tennis partners Bob Mosier and Stanley Garsinski in Fort Myers, Florida. I mean, talk about a really great... I mean, I'm assuming tennis partners, Fort Myers, Florida. I'm assuming these are two dudes, like snowbirds from New York that were in Florida, retired, maybe. I love the idea that like two dudes were like sitting playing tennis in their backyard, potentially like in a cage, kind of like the pool cages, and we're like, we can't get any good we can hardly get good bagels, and we can hardly get good pizza down here in Fort Myers. What do we do, Bob? Well, Stanley, let's just take the two mediocre things together and make something fantastic. Like, that'd be great if that was the idea. And then Stephen Gersor says the Western Bagel is my store. I've never been to a Western Bagel, but now I'm gonna like look it out. Search it out if I ever go up that way. Martha says Stevie76 says 1492 frequently when he doesn't know the answer. That's pretty funny. Mike House says, my cousins were from New Jersey, so pretentious about bagels. And she's saying, not that I'm being pretentious about it, but it's just like it's a passion that I have. Like the weird New Jersey things that you end up having passions about are pizza, bagels, diners. I mean, probably lots of other things too. I mean, like if I were a meat eater, probably I'd be much more passionate about like the mortadella, that kind of thing. But I don't eat a lot of those things anymore. But I mean, a good bologna is underrated, I think. But anyway, JC says, my mom used to make English muffin pizzas, but I never had a pizza bagel. It's a very similar concept, very tasty. I prefer, here's the order. Pizza bagel is very high on the list. You know what would be a good versus battle? French bread pizza versus pizza bagel. Now that's a battle. That might be a versus battle that makes it out of the live stream and into a regular video. Just step out of like the shoe reviewing for a minute. Ooh, I don't know which one's going to be better. I have to think about that. Below that, I would put the English muffin pizza. And then way below that would be like the pita pizza. Have you ever seen recipes? They're on like Pinterest all the time saying like, pitas are great. You can use them for everything. I mean, other than like the stuff that pitas are normally used for and are delicious for. People are always like, you need 5 more uses for it. I'm like, it's a pita. Just eat it like you would eat a pita. But anyway, one of them is always invariably make a pizza out of it. It's not good. I don't like that. Playing power dances, I always burn my mouth from bagel bites. That and like pizza rolls. That's how you eat them. That's part of the experience. Recycle on Wednesday said, when I was a kid, I didn't like pizza, but I loved bagel bites. Bagel bites are delicious. And I haven't had a bagel bite in a while, but I had like made a pizza bagel like somewhat recently. And my kids were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, come here. But they were just like, okay, it's fine. It kind of tastes like pizza. And I was like, I don't know where I've gone wrong here. Funny. Let's see. Someone said something about Skyline Chili up here. Chris says, is Cincinnati chili a thing in Iowa? And if so, your thoughts? It's not a thing here in Iowa. I've seen Skyline chili in Missouri. The canned Skyline brand Cincinnati chili. And they sell it at is Steak and Shake still a thing? Does that still exist? I don't know. But like at Steak and Shake, it's a dish. Like the 5-way chili, the 3-way chili. I mean, it's not exactly Skyline Cincinnati style, but for those of you don't know, it's like a spicy, not spicy, but a piquant. You know what I mean? There's like some flavors in it. I can't put my finger on it. Almost like a curried, like sloppy Joe like texture of meat on top of spaghetti. And it's delicious. You could serve it with raw diced onions, cheese. I'm not an expert in it, but I had a friend that was in college. He lives down in Georgia now, but after he'd been I think he was in LA for a little while. He makes movies. He's a special effects guy. But he introduced me to this food. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I thought it was just absolutely fantastic. And then at the store at Schnucks in St. Louis, they carry, or they did at the time. This was, almost 20 years ago now. But they carried it, and so you could buy it by the can and put it on top of your spaghetti. It's a very interesting product. I have not seen anyone eat anything like that around here. Although when I eat spaghetti here, I mean, the way that we frequently make spaghetti here is we just put ground beef. Not even like ground sausage or Italian sausage. We'll put just ground beef in like tomato sauce. And so it's like, I guess that's an Iowa version of that. There's no spices or seasoning in it. Just beef and tomatoes, I guess. Remember says, I've never seen Kovuzi so excited. I mean, what I like about podcasts is that because it's a primarily an audio format or live streams, so it's like I think it lends itself really well to nostalgia. Things that we don't have pictures for because we weren't videotaping things. We didn't have video cameras all the time. So like when we can get like nostalgia about food, I like it because it gets my memories going and stuff that it just like brings up food things in that I haven't thought about in a while. And a lot of my memories are like food related. I don't know why it's so connected. I think it's not just me. A lot of people are that way, but yeah. Martha says in terms of the Amsters, the pizza bagel, or at least the mass production pizza bagel creators. Her name was Judy Amster, and she was elderly, lived on the same floor of my first apartment there. She's long gone, but she had a son who's probably still around. We might have to look up the Amster pizza bagel heirs. That'd be kind of cool. 37 says, if I never see another show, I'll be fine. Bagel talk is the best. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Jonathan Fan says, there's good pizza in Florida. Is that a question or a statement? I'm not sure. I think because there is a large contingent of people from the New York area in Florida, depending on where you go, there could be. But I would not otherwise pick out Florida as like a pizza region. I'm not sure. I would love to be proven wrong on that. Brett Reed says non-bread pizza. Yeah, I think non-bread pizza would probably be a little bit better than pita bread pizza. But Plant Power Dan says I'm on team French bread. That's a good one. I mean, you know what? We were talking about the other day having a pizza food truck that goes to races and other like running spots. Maybe it's a pizza bagel truck. That's a pretty. I mean, I guess it's kind of like it could be just bagels in the morning and then bagels and bagel sandwiches in the morning and then like pizza bagels in the evening. I'm not sure. It could be, or maybe there's just a variety. There could be like, I made pizza, my own pizza pockets one time, or pizza rolls. They all exploded because I didn't know how to vent them properly, and I'm still working on that. But I tried making some pizza rolls. I made them in like triangle shapes because I felt like that was easier for me to manage. I made them kind of like mando, or like dumplings, or like I guess mini pasties or mini like empanadas, however you want to kind of like call it. So I've tried that. So I think that could be a food item: pizza bagel, French bread pizza, and then I guess like regular pizza too. No deep dish at this truck though. Ryan P says Skyline is still sold in cans. You've seen it in Denver before. You used to live right by Skyline in Louisville, Kentucky. I feel like it was best on hot dogs. I could go with that. I could think that. That'd be good. That'd be kind of like a Coney Island dog in Detroit. Derek Dixon says, or Hot Pockets pizza. That's a good question. I would say it could be. I mean, if a calzone, I still actually don't know what the difference is between a calzone and a stromboli. I mean, I'll be happy to do years of research to figure it out, but I don't know. And then, yeah, but if those can be considered, but I mean, I wouldn't consider a stromboli. Like if you were like, I had pizza for lunch. Oh yeah, what kind? Where'd you get it? Oh, I had a stromboli from Vincent's over there. I'd be like, you told me you had pizza though. I mean, I know you had all the same things, but did you have pizza? Elena says Hot Pockets is a sandwich. What is Pizza Hut's new? I love Pizza Hut's way of like trying to put pizza in other sandwich forms. What is their new one? Is it like a pizzadilla or something like that? Have you seen that? Pretty crazy. But I think the funniest pizza product that Pizza Hut has was like they were trying to like Pizza Hut is just like, we can't ethnicize anything about pizza at all. We can't even connect it back to Italian food. I think that must be like, there must have been like a marketing meeting about that. Because before they had the pizzadilla or what are they? I don't know what it's called. But before that, they had the pizzone. So they didn't even want to call it a calzone. They wanted to call it a pizzone. It was a P''ZONE. Tommy Davison from In Living Color fame was like the spokesperson for it, and it was basically they tried to make it like it's this brand new thing that Pizza Hut invented. It's the pizzone. It's amazing. I'm like, that's a calzone, or maybe it's a stromboli. I'm not sure, but it looks like a pasty with pizza inside. I couldn't figure that out. I was like, what? Why is he so excited? Crazy. Chris McLean says, all discussion topics or toppings lead back to pizza. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. JH says, the pizza in Korea had cocoa in the base, sausage in the perimeter of the base, and koguma, is that yams? On top, always at the side of pickles and corn. Oh, Matthew Wenzel says Papa John said the Papadillas. That's what it is. Papadillas. I don't like. Yeah, that's such a weird name. I don't like the name. I mean, that's what they should. Papadillas is what they should have called the hot peppers that they put inside the pizzas. I mean, they weren't that hot, but you know what I mean. That's what they should have called that. Pizza in Korea, I haven't been in Korea in a long time, but pizza in Korea was so weird. And I kind of felt when I was in Korea eating the pizza over there, they took me to like Pizza Hut, and they were like, we will take the American. I don't know why I say the Korean people's accent and not a Korean accent, but like we will take the American to the American pizza place, and he will love it. And I was there talking to everyone like I'm talking to you guys now. Like I was like, no, listen, this is how we do it. This is totally different than what we experience. And I was really like fired up about it. I'm like, this is not like this is not regular pizza cheese. I don't know what this is, but it's like it's tangy in a weird way. And I was trying to explain what like mozzarella cheese tastes like to people in Korea, and they're like, we're eating mozzarella cheese. And I'm like, that's not it. JP says the pizza is the reason I can't lose weight. It's my favorite. I love it. Recycle on Wednesday says, Papa D is such an upsetting word. I agree. I don't like it. It doesn't make me think of like pizza in quesadilla form. Yeah. I mean, even pizzadilla doesn't give me that. Yeah, I don't know. Mark Chankogo says, I literally just went to the kitchen to see if I had pizza in the freezer. Sad face. You know what? I used to buy, when I was right out of college, super poor, I was working at a research lab, and I got paid just a little bit over minimum wage. And I lived down in U City in St. Louis. I would buy, at the time, 4 Tony's frozen pizzas. I mean, they weren't great, but it was like quantity over quality. 4 Tony's frozen pizzas for $10 and 10 Mancharan ramens for $1. So I could eat for like a week and a half on like $12. And yeah, I would usually add stuff to my pizza too, just to make it a little bit more filling. I would just usually add some vegetables to it. Onions, mushrooms, or peppers. Not all 3 at the same time. 1. And the Mancharan ramen, I would usually put cheese and egg in it. Maybe eat it with some rice, maybe some tofu. But that's how I ate for like a couple of years. And I ended up with like, I paid down all my credit card debt. I mean, that wasn't the goal. The goal was just to eat whatever the heck I wanted. And that's what I ate. My mom's listening and she's probably like, that explains so much. But yeah, Mom, that's what I ate. I think she suspected that I was eating pretty crappy. But I was pretty happy with it. I was like, I had pizza for dinner like 3 times this week. I am living life. I had a little tiny bicycle. I don't know if you guys remember. Right around 2000, 2001, there was a craze on the internet for 2 things. Super tricked out, like low-rider banana seat bicycles. Like the forks were twisted and like gold-plated or like fake gold-plated. Giant like ape hanger handlebars for like an 11-inch wheel bicycle, and like mirrors on the end, and they were super decorated and glittery. I never went that route. I went instead with the other big bicycle trend at the time on the internet, which was bikes with like 2-inch wheels. So each wheel was like this big, and like you would ride it and your knees would be like super like tucked up like this. So I'd be riding a bike around it, and we had this giant apartment and no carpets, all wood floors, and we had like no furniture, and I would just ride the bicycle around the apartment and eat Tony's pizzas and Mancharan ramen and played Virtua Tennis. This was the state I was in when my wife found me. So like she definitely took like the lost puppy, gave it a bath, cleaned it all up, set it straight, and helped it flourish. But yeah, that's where I was at when my wife found me. Phil Ortman says, my cheap go-to in college was what I called a Murphy Brown. Breaded chicken patty with hot sauce and a slice of cheese wrapped in a tortilla and grilled on the George Foreman. That sounds fantastic. What we did in college on the George Foreman grill was 2 things. One was we made a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches on the Foreman grill. We would do it, and I would come home. I lived in a fraternity house, and we'd come home, and like there would be like you'd come home real late, and there'd be like 3 or 4 rooms of people like hanging out, playing video games, drinking beers, and cooking up like it was a backyard barbecue, but on our Foreman grills. And grilled cheeses were really popular, and we would go through like loaves of bread at a time. And the other thing that was really popular is I think it was Costco or Sam's Club. They would sell a giant box of taquitos, like flautas, frozen ones. And they were the exact correct order of like the rungs in a Foreman grill, and you could just line them up all the way through, close it down, freezer to Foreman, and in a couple of minutes you had some absolutely delicious food. And you take your giant jug of salsa that you also got at Costco, or a giant jug of ranch, because it was still St. Louis, it was the Midwest, and like we'd have that, and we usually wouldn't have it at the same time as the grilled cheese sandwiches, but that's what we would eat like late night. Because I would say one thing, St. Louis does not have a really great late night food culture. There's late night emos, but that emos is weird. I lived in St. Louis for 7 years, and I never could appreciate that flavor. And like in Chicago, you got like late night tacos. East Coast, you've got like late night pizza joints that are open. I don't think St. Louis has a really good, or at least it didn't when I lived there. So that's what was missing. Yeah. Martha says, I missed a side conversation that brought up the SL20s. So she needs an alarm to activate the group. So there you go. All right, we'll get that in there. Because I was just going on a rant about some nostalgia from like the turn of the century. J. Mike Remy said, did somebody say bicycle? Yes, I remember low ride bikes. That was fun. I mean, I really liked that craze. It was fun. I was like, I think I'm going to have to learn how to assemble a bicycle, because you could never buy them, but all the parts were available for sale on eBay all over the place. But yeah. Chris McLean says, has this morphed into a pizza quiz? I came for the bagels. All right, back to the I got 2 more bagel questions. Bagel question number 5. I think I was running out of steam on this, which is an unintentional bagel pun. But anyway, question number 5. How big is the world's biggest bagel? So world record, Guinness Book for the biggest bagel. How big is it? Bert Legge says bagels are overrated and overpriced. What? I think you're in the wrong place today, Bert. Martha says, does anyone here eat pizza without hot sauce? Oh, see, Martha, I only eat pizza with hot sauce on round 2. So if there's I only eat it for leftovers, and more particularly with the crust. I forget which chef was telling me it, or not telling me, but saying it like on TV, that like pizza is really terrible bread, and that's why like pizza crusts are so gross. And I was like, maybe you got a point, because whenever I have pizza like the second day, I do like hot sauce on both the pizza and especially in the crust. Chrisia says, here in Miami, big Latin influence, obviously. Late night street food, Colombian hot dogs, covered in diced pineapple and those crispy French fry sticks from a can. That sounds nice. I like that. All right, so let's see. People are giving me the biggest bagel in like size, like width, like length. Mark Jankokis is 25 feet. Plant Power Dance is 37 inches. The answer I have is in weight. Yeah, Matthew Wenzel wants to know weight or circumference. Weight. We're looking for weight here. All right, I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to answer that one. Rain Runner says 5 feet. Let me see if I can find a picture of it, and hopefully when I pull it up, it won't make the stream freeze. So it's the largest bagel. I'll look for it. I just want to find an image of it so you guys can get a sense for the size. There's a couple of pictures. It's not the one from the Lender's Guy, for those of you guys trying to cheat on and do a quick Google search. Because that was the old record, but it's not the current record. There's a current bigger one. All right, now we got some good answers here. Reed Morris coming in at 430 pounds. It's way bigger than that, dude. Yeah, amazing, right? Let's see. Lanier says 100 kilos. Oh, it's way more than that. Yeah, we got people saying like 25 pounds, 45 pounds. Stevie76 says the weight of Seth on a good day, $120. No, it's way more than that. Way more than that. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says burgers. That's right. The burgers one is the one that has the record. June 1 says 2,000 pounds. A ton? No, it's not quite that big. Not quite a ton, but pretty close. Yeah. The answer that I have is that in 2004, Burgers Bagels, BREUGGER ', which I think is a chain now, made the biggest bagel in the world, 868 pounds, 393.7 kilos. Stevie76 says a stone? No, what's a stone? Like 20-something pounds? It's many, many stone. Many stone. It was made in I think it was made in the U.S. and put on display, because I think Guinness does the record in kilos, because Guinness is not an American company. But then in the further detail in the description, they talked about it in pounds. But yeah, it was on display at like the New York State Fair at some point. Yeah, Plant Power Dan says, I want to know how many gallons of cream cheese was used to cover it. Here's a picture that I have of it. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it doesn't freeze everything up. Yeah, so there it is. The largest bagel. It's giant. Look at, there's like a little child over here. Like they put like a child in there for reference. How big is this thing? Pretty big. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Martha asks, how did they boil it? Yeah, how do you boil it and how do you bake it? Do you just make like a giant pizza, like an outdoor pizza kitchen oven, right? Like just like a cave of an oven and put that thing in there? But like, yeah. J. Mike Remy says, with all the food tech here, how have we not talked about Epic Mealtime? Look it up on YouTube. I loved Epic Mealtime, and then like they had their TV show. Did you watch that, J. Mike Remy? I mean, that's where all the shirts come from. Where it says like Ben Parks has his like tempo and threshold and whatever, you know, something like 4 different something kind of miles, like all that. And like there's ones that are like Cubs players and there'll be like 4 Cubs players, you know. Every time you see like in the basic font something, that comes from Epic Mealtime. They had those shirts first. I could be wrong and that they might have gotten that from someone else before them. But Epic Mealtime did that first, and it was bacon and bacon and bacon and bacon and bacon. And so like everything they would do, they would make like a giant hamburger and then wrap it, and they would make like a lattice of bacon. So you'd have like a bacon quilt, and then they would put it and make it all together and then cook the whole thing. It was amazing. I mean, and of course it got kind of boring and like how can you? It's hard to make a show that's built around the idea of constantly being over the top, but that was a good show. Terrence Huey says, it's got that Epic Mealtime had a narrow audience. His wife didn't understand why. He found it amusing. I loved it. I just really enjoyed it. Yeah. Yeah, Kim says that giant bagel is probably dense as heck. Yeah, oh yeah, I would think so. Rainrunner says, I think Kofuzi needs some pizza-related merch. Maybe. Yeah. M. Grunner says, is it kosher? That giant one? I would imagine that it's probably kosher. Does flour have to be kosher? Or is all flour automatically kosher? Because the only thing that I can think of in the bagel is sometimes people do an egg wash on a bagel, but I think that makes it more like a pretzel. But that could be the only thing. Aren't eggs kosher? I don't know. I don't know the rules so much. I don't know. Donald Beck says maybe they sprayed it continuously with boiling water and then came back by with flamethrowers for the bigger. Yeah, I don't know how they would have cooked it. I bet you there's a TV show that documents it, and I need to dig that up. Oh, Backfam says apparently it was kettle boiled for 30 minutes and then baked for 10 hours. Oh, okay. Jeff Elliott says t-shirt idea is activate the bagels. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, Daniel M says, third world countries, starvation is a major issue. America, Epic Mealtime. Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Yeah. Oh, activate the gluten, Rainrunner says. I like it. Yeah, J. McRae, bacon strips. Yeah. Yeah, they were amazing with the bacon. And that was when, I don't know if that started, like, America's love affair with, I mean, America's always loved bacon. Everywhere has always loved bacon. But bacon got real big for a little while, maybe about 10 years ago, I want to say. And that coincided right at that time. So I don't know if one fed into each. I think one probably fed into the other. And I don't think that Epic Mealtime started America's real, rekindling of love affair with bacon. But that happened at about the same time. Because like I remember like 20 years ago, bacon was delicious, and everyone was kind of like, yeah, breakfast buffet is great because you got a steam tray full of bacon. That's awesome. But it wasn't like a thing that was like constantly in our consciousness like it was about 10 years ago. Like Epic Mealtime, I think, had a big part of that. Larry Mo says, check out a Kofuzi What I Eat video from 2017. That's like a totally different dude. That's pretty funny. Yeah. All right, I got one more question, bonus question for the bagel trivia to bring it back, and then I got to get going. This has been fun time food today. Last bagel trivia question, toasted or untoasted? Which way do you go? I will tell you mine. My answer is it depends. And I'll tell you what it depends on after I get some of your answers. Frank Lahuru says, not that popular in the Middle East. I could see that. Terrence Hui says, San Francisco has a restaurant, bacon. Guess what every dish has. Awesome. A lot of people coming in with toasted. Ooh. Martha says, Martha's got a depends answer unless it's hot out of the oven. Yeah. M. Gruner, toasted lightly, says Lenier. Yeah, Ilya Kim says, if it's fresh, not toasted. JH likes toasted 1/2 only. Which half? The top or the bottom? Yeah, J. Montgomery says both. Yeah, I'll take it either way for sure. I like it. But I'll give you my answer. My answer is, if it's a really great bagel, it doesn't need to be toasted because you've got like the crispy, or not the crispy, but like the bite of the outside, like the snap of the outside. And then you got a nice chewy inside, and you want those two different textures. If it's not as, like if it's a freezer bagel, or if it's like just like a generic grocery store bagel, then I'd probably want it toasted before I eat it. That's kind of where I come down on it. But it'll be like my dad. One time I came back and I was like making a big deal about the bagels in the freezer that he had, and I was like, Dad, you've got 24 bagels in here right now. I think we're probably need more before the weekend's over, but this is great. And he's like, why are you so excited? And I was like, Dad, he's lived in, I mean, my dad's a world traveler. He's been everywhere. But I'm like, but he's lived in Korea half his life, I guess a part of his life, a substantial portion of his life, his formative years, but then lived like the rest of his life in the United States, mostly in New Jersey, a brief period of time in New York. And I was like, you've always had really great bagels. You've not lived in the U.S. in a place that doesn't have good bagels. When you've gone to other places in the U.S. that don't have good bagels, you've probably just been enjoying the food that's there and haven't missed the fact that they don't eat bagels or have bagels there. And it's like, you just don't know. You haven't gone without before. And I was like, here's how I figure it out. Like a delicious bagel, you don't need to put in the toaster, and it's delicious. But if you have like it's bread in a bagel shape, then you're gonna want it toasted, and that's how I really can tell the difference. Is like, if this is something that I'd want to eat just like room temperature, it's a delicious bagel. That's how I feel about it. That's my bagel rant. June 1 says, my friend in Cali says the bagel is way different in New York and New Jersey. Oh yeah, yep. I mean, I know that like there's a lot of people that have a lot to say about like East Coast breads, pizza dough, bagels. It's the water, it's the bacteria in the air when the yeast are proofing the dough, that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of nostalgia to it, but I also think there's like a lot of technique that gets passed down that people learn from other people. That's just really great about the breads from back there, and that's something that I'm very nostalgic about back there. And I just love it. And you know what? My mother-in-law, she's born and raised in Iowa. Although I guess she has German ancestry. So maybe like there's some of that coming through. Although not any Jewish Polish. So definitely none of that. But, somewhat similar part of the world. Maybe that's what's coming through. She makes a pretty darn good bagel, I'll have to say. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. I had a lot of fun talking about a little bit about bagels and a lot about everything else, probably mostly about pizza, but I had a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys had fun too. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to talk about these changing seasons. It's crazy. And then in the afternoon, we'll do another live stream. I'm going to still try and keep them at 3 o'clock every day. I think that'll work out for me and my schedule with like homeschooling and helping out with virtual school and stuff. We'll see how long we can keep that going. So, but for now, it's going to be 3 o'clock. I don't anticipate any changes, but I'll let you guys know if we do. All right. Be safe out there, everybody. I know there's lots of parts of this country that are all weird right now weather-wise, so be safe, and that are weird otherwise too. So be safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, everyone.